briefly because, we've got both me and Sheets out this week. I'm on vacation. So I'm just going to drop in really quickly, get back to my regular content and everything on Wednesday. Sheets should be back, I believe, Thursday, maybe Friday. But looking forward to getting back there and being able to get back to full strength for you guys. And it's been a little, we need a little break after that, the craziness at the end of the year, just so many sports all the time, and nice to have a little break, but at the same time, look forward to seeing you guys a little more often starting on Wednesday. Hope everybody's doing well. I'm just going to go through this briefly and tell you my thoughts. I'm obviously not able to play down here, so I would just go through and talk through some of the plays that I would be considering. I like the game environment here between this New Orleans Sacramento situation. I think getting to one of Ingram or McCollum is certainly a good idea. I actually side a little bit more on the McCollum side tonight. Maybe it's just a price thing, but I think that it makes a little bit more sense for me. You also have the value of Najee Marshall at 4,100. Volatility a little bit there with the minutes sometimes, but definitely a guy I think that you want to consider. And I think that you're probably going to look at him. The only thing that is something going to open up later. It's definitely possible, but as of right now, there's not enough not enough Q tags for me not to play him. I also think this projection on Trey Murphy, I think is just like a misprojection. So I love Trey Murphy. So my priorities here would be McCollum and Murphy. Murphy number 1, actually, McCollum number 2, and then Najee for the value if you need to go there. Talking a little bit about the other side of this game, the Sacramento side, decent matchup for them as well. Sabonis is Fox. I feel fine with both of them. I have no interest in. I probably wouldn't be playing them in reality tonight. Harrison Barnes is so cheap. I don't mind if you want to use him for value as sort of a different play or in addition to Najee Marshall. But I really am probably not as high on this Sacramento side. I do think it's interesting with Duarte starting. You could certainly look to that way as well for the value. I don't mind that. So that would probably be the things that I would look at most is just look for the value on the Sacramento side. But not even that is very exciting to me tonight. You've got Trae Young here and going into Orlando. This is going to be a stay away game for me. I don't like taking teams at against Orlando. They play slow. They play good defense. It's been a little bit faster lately, but still I'm probably off of it. On the Orlando side, I think Batatse is the obvious play. I would probably be playing him in most of my lineups tonight if I were able to play. And I think that it's a totally reasonable for Banchero price. You also have Chuma Okeke starting tonight at 4,500. That I think is a little bit better value compared to Najee Marshall. They're pretty close. Actually, you know what? I like Marshall. I think they're really close. But you certainly have some options that don't make you have to play the Harrison Barnes plays because there is some potential value out there tonight. I wouldn't be getting to Suggs myself, but I do think getting to maybe a little bit of Cole Anthony at a price that seems too high in a great matchup is a really, really good tournament play. So I'd say my favorites here, Batatse, Banchero, and Cole Anthony. And I think Cole Anthony is the low-owned one that is the kind of guy that, could shoot himself into a big game against this Atlanta team. On the Minnesota and Dallas, I am probably I would be a little bit lower than the field, I think, on these guys. I do think Cat's a strong play and it's just too cheap. He would be the one I would be the heaviest on. I probably would be underweight Anthony Edwards today. I don't mind Gobert at all. But I don't think you need to do it. Jaden McDaniels, yet another 44K-ish value play that you can look at. And this would be a night where I would consider Mike Conley even as a reasonable value. But overall, the real priority for me would be Towns at that price. I think it's a good spot, and I would like to get some exposure there. It's a tough matchup, which I like to play Luka in tough matchups. I don't think I would be able to get there tonight. I don't think I would be able to get to Kyrie. But I think either of them are fine to take shots on. I just probably would be off of the Dallas side, sort of like the Atlanta guys. I don't want to play them in a pace-down matchup. Going on to Memphis and Phoenix, Desmond Bane is going to look like one of the better values on the slate. I think he's obviously very reasonable without Ja and just making sure that I'm not missing anybody else from the list here of players out other than Ja. Yeah, I think Bane would be the clear priority. I don't mind the Kennard thing. I think he's getting a little too much love, but I don't know. I guess it's reasonable enough. I'm okay with the Kennard thing, but remember, there's a range of outcomes, and I think he's going to end up being a lot more popular than he's currently being projected at 25% with him starting. So I think you're going to be seeing more like 50+% possibly. I kind of like the idea of maybe trying some stuff where I don't do that. But overall, it's kind of hard to ignore. That's a pretty reasonable play at his price. It's really just going to depend on what the final ownership looks like. I'm sure Goldie will have his updated in a little bit. Marcus Smart, I think, is the other one you're looking at. So between Smart, Bane, and Jackson, I like Bane the best, and I would go Jackson next, and then Smart. Pretty close between all three, but definitely don't mind getting some exposure to all these guys because this is a good spot. Phoenix's defense doesn't wow anybody these days. I don't really have a lot of love for anything on the Phoenix side. I wish I did have a run back because I think you could make a nice little stack on the Memphis side, but nothing really I love on the run back side. I do think at some point we might start playing a little more Bradley Beal. He would probably be the one I'm most interested in. Don't mind the Nurkic thing, but probably not for me, honestly. Drop in any questions and thoughts because I'm going to be out of here in just a few minutes. I've got to get going in a bit. Going over to Detroit and Denver. This is a stay away for me on the Detroit side. I think they're going to get just housed tonight, personally. But I feel like there almost is something that I'm missing because it just feels like a good spot for, for Denver to just to crush them. And for some reason, SaberSim only has it as a 10-point spread. I know it's actually more in real life. This seems a little close. I think I would probably just be off this game tonight. I think if I had to play anybody, it would probably be Jamal Murray. And maybe you could throw KCP into the mix for the value, but I think there's better stuff out there. So Jamal Murray, maybe Michael Porter Jr., maybe Jokic, but I just think mostly I would be looking elsewhere. In that game, they're going to be able to handle that game pretty easily. Toronto at Golden State. You're getting a pretty decent projection for Siakam and Scotty Barnes. I like the Scotty Barnes play a little bit better than I like the Siakam play in this matchup. And then I think Quickly is totally reasonable at 6,800. We've seen what he can do a little bit there. RJ Barrett coming off of a monster game. Kind of surprised that everybody's just going to fade him tonight. I would probably get some exposure to RJ Barrett. If I was playing 5 lineups, he would definitely be in at least one of them. On the Golden State side, nothing that I love. Again, you can always play Steph. It's a smaller slate. Sure, take a shot. We're starting to see a little bit of better stuff out of Wiggins. It is a later game, so if there anything did happen where we got news later, you have Wiggins at 4,900. I think that's a totally reasonable play, and I think that would be a guy I'd be overweight on here. I also like the Saric play a little bit in this matchup, a little more than I like Trace Jackson Davis. For tournaments, I'm okay with Kuminga and Thompson, but they would really just be strictly tournament plays. The main pieces I think that you'd be focusing on tonight would be Memphis, Orlando, and New Orleans, and then trying to mix in a couple of those the Cole Anthony type of plays, the guys who can give you a chance at literally almost no ownership. I would be taking some more shots on those types of guys tonight. You do have Caleb Houston starting also, which I forgot to mention, but I would just be off that personally. So I'm going to take a quick look in the Discord, see if anybody's got anything to say. Am I actually a day behind? Oh my God. That feels so idiotic. That's crazy. I'm so sorry, guys. My bad. This is what happens when you try to do this from vacation. Sorry about that. I will get another thing up quickly. My bad. That's really embarrassing.